Today I'm going to teach you my strategy of how to host the perfect open house, one that will get the listing sold, one that will get a lot of people in the door even in this really tough real estate market in 2026, and one that will help you as a real estate agent to get a lot of buyer and seller leads so that you can continue to sell even more houses. If this is your first time watching this channel, my name's Sarah. I've been selling properties in San Diego for almost 17 years, and I love to share some of the things that I've learned along the way. I love to help other real estate agents, so don't forget to subscribe. Don't mind the background, by the way. It is birthday season around here, and we're not taking it down yet. Let's get into the formula, but first let's start with why our open house is important. To me, it is really important that we tell our clients the truth, that the open house itself will not sell the listing. Pricing it right, marketing it so that there is enough exposure, access to the listing, whether that is private showings or whether that is open houses, those are the things that will sell the property. Open houses can be very convenient to the sellers, and they can help the client potentially get the property sold for top dollar, especially if there are a lot of people in the home, and then it has this like psychological effect where buyers are looking around going, I better put my best foot forward. I better make an amazing offer because I think they're going to have multiple offers because there's 20 people in the door right now. So it can be very beneficial for sellers to allow you as the agent to hold an open house, but in no means is it a requirement. Now, also, remember that it doesn't have to be just for your listing. So if you are, let's say you're a newer agent, or even if you're not, and you are wanting to get more leads in 2026, both buyer and seller leads, holding an open house for another real estate agent's listing with their permission, of course, is something that you can do that is almost a completely free strategy. It can potentially be free, but I will get into the refreshments and catering and all of the things that I suggest that you do to market this property. So we can say almost free, like very cheap method of getting you a lot of contacts and a lot of potential leads. And that's why I'm a big fan of hosting open houses. So let's go down the list. Step one is make sure that the open house is actually listed in the MLS or the multiple listing service. You would think, duh, like that's obvious. However, at least in my local MLS and our San Diego MLS, it has to be manually inputted. It's not just something that you should put in the remarks and then leave it there, because if it's not inputted as an open house, after publishing the listing, like immediately after, then it's not going to syndicate to Zillow and Redfin on all the different real estate websites where potential buyers are looking and they're planning their weekends. So especially if you are holding an open house for another agent for their listing, look online and make sure that they have inputted it there, because the signs are not enough by any means. The majority of the traffic is going to come from online. Step two is all about your marketing and what you put into it. While you could potentially just throw something together, throw some signs in your car and show up on a Sunday morning, you're not likely to get the most amount of people that you possibly could in the door that day if you do. So plan ahead. I like to start planning at least a week in ahead if at all possible. So one thing that I will do is to create flyers, and I'll create them on Canva, and they're just a little bit less than like half sheet of paper, printed on glossy paper. You can just print them at your local print shop, and these are invitations. And so I will use these to then door knock the neighborhood and invite people to the open house. I typically like to do this the day before the open house. That's ideal, and this is beneficial for you in a couple of reasons. The first is that you're going to get more people in the door, especially if you have good catering and you're advertising that, which we'll get into. And then the second is you're meeting people, and that is the whole goal. That's the whole name of the game. When you're in real estate, you want to meet people, you want to connect with them, because those neighbors are future sellers. Another thing that I like to do for marketing the open house is to actually create a Facebook event page. This is different than just writing open house next week on your main Facebook page, your personal page, or even your business page. An event page is different. So I will go in Canva, create a header for the event page, which shows like the catering, which shows the beautiful property and all of the marketing, create it as an event, and then publish that to my page and my business page, as well as local pages, whether it's like, the North County San Diego Moms group or something like that. So a lot of people are seeing it. But then you can also simply pay for a boost of that, like as an ad. So that event page is now being shown to people who live in the neighborhood. And when they go on Facebook, they're scrolling and they're seeing, oh, wow, that's like, one block over, and they're having an open house and it's catered and it's this weekend, I'm going to go to that. So that is a great way to hit that online marketing. I mentioned catering several different times, so let's actually get into the food and what should you serve. Over the years of doing many open houses, I have learned that I do not like to have food served in the home, even if it's just like a Costco cookie tray, which is something that I did when I was a new agent. I started with, look, the potential for crumbs, the potential for disasters. What if there's carpet and then kids are running around and they're spilling and there's chocolate chip cookies and they stomped it into the carpet? Like, you just never want an issue where you have to tell the seller, I'm so sorry, but in trying to market your property, I damaged your property. No go. So we're not eating food inside the house. That's simply my rule. However, I still want to make it the best possible event ever. I want to make it something that the neighbors are talking about, which literally happens for my open houses. I have people in the community who are like, I remember the last one that you did because nobody else is bringing a Kona ice truck. So what I do instead is make sure that there's a really great option for food outside and that they can come in and enjoy the house. And when they're finished looking, get some yummy food on their way out. So I typically rent a Kona ice truck, which is shaved ice, and it is only costing me around $500 for the 2 hours. And I say only, you may think that's a lot, and I understand, but we have to also remember that we're marketing the property. We're going to make a big paycheck when the property sells. I'm in San Diego, our price points are high. That's honestly like not that much in terms of an aspect of marketing, in my opinion. If that's not in your budget, no problem, total respect to that. There's lots of different options. I'm just sharing what I've done. You can also rent an ice cream truck. You can also rent a coffee bar. One of the things that I've seen lately that's really cool that I would love to do, I just haven't seen it available in my area, is the dirty soda, like bars or stands. The people have these mobile dirty soda carts, and they are coming out for your event and they're just making drinks for people. I think that sounds so fun and unique. You can even rent a Ben & Jerry's like cart. They will come out and they will serve the ice cream. And then one more option for really great food outside is taco trucks or food trucks. They're not actually as expensive as you might think. Now, I realize that if it's not your listing and you're just holding the open house for another real estate agent, you may not want to invest $500 or $700, because that's not including tip, what I mentioned before. You may not want to invest that much into your open house, and I totally respect that. Again, just sharing what I do for my own listings. Another option of what you can serve if you want to keep it clean and also save a lot of money is going to be custom cookies, but in individually wrapped containers that they can take with them. And you can just specifically say, would you like to take a cookie with you? I have used the same baker many times in San Diego, and I get these custom cookies where they literally look like the front of the house. I'll put a picture in here. People love these cookies because they are so memorable. They're also delicious. And again, people are just taking them on their way out, and I'm only spending around maybe $135, and that's for 2 days worth of cookies. All right, that's the food. Let's talk about how you actually hold the open house. First of all, yes, signs are important. The majority of your traffic is not going to come from signs, but you also don't want to make it confusing, and you want to make sure that your name is getting out there throughout the neighborhood, because people will start to remember how many times they see your signs. And the more you start to list and or hold open houses in the neighborhood, you want your name to become memorable, which it will. I recommend never doing an open house alone. This is, I guess, maybe somewhat of a controversial take, or I would say more difficult for a lot of people to do because they just don't have a lot of agents on their team, or they don't have a team or a partner. But keep in mind, it does not have to be another real estate agent that you're hosting it with. Of course, if they're not a real estate agent, that person then is going to be somewhat limited in terms of what they can say, but they can still be really helpful for a couple of reasons. The first is your safety. Open houses are not necessarily safe. I don't even know what else to say about that. Just understand that anytime that you're alone and strangers are coming in, safety is not a guarantee. The second is you've marketed the heck out of this property, right? And you've made sure that it is priced right. So you're planning to get a lot of people in the door, right? Well, what you don't want to have happen is having a ton of people come in the door and then you can't even sign them in, or you can't even greet them because you're in the middle of a conversation with someone about, hey, they want to make a potential offer, they have questions about lending, but then you don't get to say hi to these people, or you have to end this conversation and you just feel rushed. It's like when you're at a party and you're hosting a party and then you don't get to say hi to everybody. It's terrible. So when I have someone with me, like a vendor, They are often doing the greeting at the front door, and I am often the one that is telling more about the details of the property, of course, answering any questions, and then getting into the more deep conversations with people when they're saying, do you have any offers? When are the offers due? We really want to make an offer. What do you recommend? Maybe we don't have a buyer's agent. Like, just all of those conversations, those are going to be me. Signing people in at the door, just greeting people is going to be somebody else. That can be a loan officer. That can be an insurance agent. That can be a title rep. Quite frankly, if you don't have a vendor that is willing to do it with you, that can be your best friend or your boyfriend or someone that you want to bring. Just keep in mind they're not going to be able to answer questions about the home, but they could say things like, hi, come on in. The real estate agent's in the back. It's a beautiful home, isn't it? Nothing wrong with that. So now we talked about the fact that yes, you do want to have someone in there with you. You can do the old-fashioned method of signing in on a piece of paper, and that's fine, but understand that a lot of people are not going to fully fill it out, or they're going to put fake information. Or you can use an iPad, a tablet, and something like Spacio, which is an app, and they will type in their information. And then that is a really cool tool because you can automatically email them after and say, thanks so much for attending the open house. You can even make it into a template so that it just goes out and says, thanks so much for attending the open house. Just a reminder, here's the information about the property. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm available. I love that. If you do happen to have some downtime at your open house, let's say there aren't a lot of people showing up, there's just no one in the door right now, why not continue to market that property and do a video walkthrough of the home and post it on YouTube or some different websites where you're still getting the word out of this property? Don't just sit there doing nothing. Really make use of your time. When it comes to the conversations that you're having with people, obviously you want to really connect with people and let them know that you believe in this property, you believe in the pricing. That's one reason why it's a good idea to actually have the comps printed out and just sitting there in the kitchen. So if somebody says like, is this home really priced right? Is this home really worth it? You're able to actually say, yeah, let's take a look. So this one down the road sold for this, and that's why we priced this, plus this one has owned solar, and like have all the details of it. Of course, you want to also have flyers. You can have an upgrades list as well. Again, I'm making a lot of these things on Canva, and then the photographer that I use as part of the photography package for my listing, and I do videos and all that, they make a custom listing website for the property. We're then putting that on all of the marketing, and it's just really getting the word out. Let's say you just talked with somebody, you had a great conversation, then they went upstairs and they're like viewing the property, and then now they're coming back down and you're thinking, don't leave, I'm not done talking with you, what do you say? Yes, don't just like stand there. You do want to have that conversation. What do you think of the home? And they can be honest. If they end up saying something like, well, it's really not for me, that's okay. You can even say, that's all right, it's not my property. I don't own it. I think it's a great property, but it's okay to be honest. So just curious, what would it take to make it like a 10, or what is different in this home than the home that you're really, really wanting? And find out more about what they're wanting. Now, if it's somebody that does not have a buyer's agent and you as a real estate agent are really wanting to work with them, but you are positive that this listing is not the right one for them because they've specifically said, I'm not interested in this home, I'm not interested in making an offer, well then you don't want to just let them go out the door and then never talk to them again. So why not have some other options available? Not sitting out on the counter, not in the kitchen, not for anybody to just see, so that you can kind of change their mind away from the home that you're trying to sell. But in case anybody comes to you and says, I don't like this home, but I'd love help finding something else. Okay, then you can pull out from your own from the cupboard in a folder with your purse, and you can pull something out and say, have you seen this one? It's a little bit different. It might be more what you're looking for because it's a single story like you mentioned you wanted. Did you want to take a look at this one with me maybe tonight at 5? And you can go ahead and schedule the appointment right there. And that way you're more likely to convert the client and have a new buyer. When it comes to open houses, remember that a lot of the magic is in the follow-up, that sometimes people will not respond to you right away, and that you might even have to follow up a couple times if you are trying to convert someone. Typically, you're going to know right away if somebody has interest in that home and in making an offer in that home, but maybe you're trying to like work with some leads that you met at the open house. I have a free template in my Stand store that can be found here. And if you want to just edit it in Canva, it's free and it's easy. And this is just something that I sometimes send via text, and it's just like, hey, thanks so much. There's a picture of the listing. Thanks so much for visiting the listing. Just a reminder, this was me, you met me, because they're probably going into 6 open houses that day. And I'd love to help you. So sending something like that can be really valuable too, especially because it's easy and it's free. Okay, that is lots of information on how to hold the perfect open house. Let me know in the comments, what questions do you have and what challenges have you had in holding your own open houses in the past? Just a reminder, I sell properties in San Diego. If you know anybody that is looking to buy or sell a property in San Diego, I would love to help. I'd be happy to take a referral and we can discuss that. So feel free to give me a call. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.